Hello everybody and welcome to Dark Souls 2. In today's video I've actually gone through the trouble to actually make Guts from Berserk. And now his face is a bit off, but it was the closest I could get it due to his messy hairstyle and his skin tone. Now, Guts, his skin tone is tan white, so that's what I went for. I went for the tannish white kind of skin tone. And, I know what you're thinking. This is actually pretty accurate to Guts. And, well, yes. And the reason I was able to get it so close to Guts is because the creators of Dark Souls are actually really big fans of Berserk. So they actually threw in a ton of references and armor and weapon pieces as references to Berserk. And this weapon is actually based off of Guts' own sword, Dragon Slayer. We can tell this if we go into... Give me a second. The thing, it's a great sword. A straight sword with a very long blade, one of very few ultra great swords. No human was intended to wield a sword of this weight or destructiveness. Only a few famed warriors who have ever wielded this great blade, for it challenges the very limits of human ability. Now, honestly, that sounds like a very clear reference to Guts and Dragon Slayer. And it looks like Dragon Slayer too. So, if you're going to do a Guts cosplay, which is a pretty easy one to do, this is definitely a mandatory thing to use. You get this at No Man's Wharf in a chest, in a house with some things. If you just bring a torch, it should be easy to get. Now then, time to go over the look. Since Guts is the Black Swordsman, I wanted to have a black armor set. Naturally, so I actually had to go and farm for this Luane armor set at the Drylaic Castle. I had to use a Bonfire Ascendant to make the enemies stronger just so I could get it, but it paid off. The only thing I would change about it is the little skirt thing, but other than that, it is a perfect gear piece to look like Guts. It is absolutely flawless and really gives off the look of Guts. Now the gauntlets, these are also important, are the Alani Knight Gauntlets from the Iron Keep. These things, honestly, do look like Guts's... They look like Guts' metal arm from the anime and manga. So I had to pick them so they look like that. But sadly, you can only equip them on both hands, not just one. If I could, I would have just put it on the left hand, because spoilers in the anime or manga, Guts has to cut off his left hand and he gets a mechanical arm. Now, what I've done with this to make it represent the anime is Guts' metal arm has a repeating crossbow, a flamethrower, and a one-shot cannon. So for the flamethrower, I attached Pyromancy Flame onto the left hand, so if I use Fire Whip... Oh, wrong button. So if I use Fire Whip, it looks like a flamethrower. But if I use Great Combustion, it looks like a small short-range explosion to match what the cannon would do to an enemy. Because the cannon gives off a short but big explosion. So with my pyromancies, I can actually make the left hand represent the mechanical arm. I can't get the crossbow because it would look weird just holding a crossbow, and I wasn't skilled enough to beat the whole game without dying to get the ring to make it turn invisible. So yeah. So I went over the gauntlets and I went over the armor piece. Next up are the Fram boots. You get these at the Drylaic Castle, just like where you get Great Combustion. You go into a room with a bunch of things, and you kill an enemy near the door on the upper left. There's a floor where if you fall through, there's a skeleton, and you'll get the full Fram set. These match Guts perfectly because the pants are bluish, but they have the boots. And in the anime and manga, Guts' armor style, his pants have a dark bluish tint to them, but he does wear boots. Brown boots, so they do match pretty well. Now, for this, I could not get rid of one of Guts' eyes, and I could not give him a scar across his nose, so this was the best I could get to getting Guts in this game. But frankly, I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, let's get into some gameplay of Guts. Where do I want to go? Actually, I think I'll go here, because this is a really cool thing I can actually show off. Okay, now after that cool little kill, we're gonna go over what this Ultra Great Sword can do. Its standard one-handed attack are simple swings. Pretty simple. With that, it does a overhead heavy. When you continue that, it does a second overhead. Now let's see if it changes if you just go forward with it. No, it doesn't. It just continues to flip backwards, so if you're surrounded on both sides, that is an easy way to get out of it. But if you two-hand this weapon, you swing it overhead, and then it combos into an uppercut. When you heavy that, it does a heavy swing that'll knock enemies into the air. That combos into another mid-overhead to a hit. And when I say overhead or anything, that doesn't mean anything. All attacks just do damage. It's just a pretty common way of saying how it looks. Now, frankly, let's see if we can get an enemy to okay, so we messed up the cannon, so let's see if we can burn him with the flamethrower. Yeah, we got him. So, yes. Guts' skill is pretty cool. I really like how the clothing mechanics really work. Now, we missed our cannon, but don't worry, since the Great Combustion gives you 6 shots, you can technically practice getting the final cannon blow with 6 different enemies. Because, frankly, it does look cool. Now, a lot of people use Forbidden Sun with this, because it gives off a really big explosion, but I just didn't think it looked right, because if you miss it, it doesn't look good at all. It just looks like a giant fireball being thrown. So, that's why I just didn't pick Forbidden Sun. Now, if you also watched the anime or read the manga, you also know that Guts carries a very wide array of weaponry. He carries throwing knives and little bombs that explode that demons can barely even handle. Now, I've added a few more other things, just so it seemed that Guts had a little bit more weaponry. But Guts' weaponry still stands. Now, if you really want to challenge when you play this game, you can make the Guts build, and you can try to go for no shield or anything. I had to use a Great Shield, because this thing, the weapon does swing slow. That's just because that's Dark Souls-ish thing, but it does massive damage. I'm trying to lock onto this guy. And so we killed a demon. Let's see if we can kill a few more. See if we can bait him. Ah, wrong spell. Now, I don't care that we get hit, because Guts in the anime is willing to get hit to gain an advantage. So, let's just go destroy some stuff. Now, if we die, I don't care, because, frankly, Guts isn't afraid of really much. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so I got him with the cannon. Sorry if I don't talk much, I just focus on gameplay. Okay, now, really, Great Combustion is really just a flashy pyromancy if you just want to look fancy when you kill an enemy. Like this. Because it looks like the cannon from the anime, like I already mentioned. Plus, frankly, I just think it looks cooler and it fits a lot more to the cannon, because the cannon is a close-range weapon that Guts uses, while the Forbidden Sun thing, if you hit it from a distance, it doesn't feel right. I also mentioned the throwing knives that I use, the fire bombs. Now, the other things I throw in just for gameplay elements are the lightning bombs, the black bar bombs, the hexing urns, and the corrosive urns. There's also poison throwing knives. And frankly, I could just take this guy out by doing that, but I actually want to try to kill him with the fire. Got him right before he hit me. Now that is something Guts would do. He would take a risky move like that and risk getting hit just to kill them with fire. Don't let you know Guts would do that. Remember, Guts is very reckless. And I mean very reckless. Okay, fire. Got him again. Okay. And, anyway, that was Guts, the Black Swordsman from Berserk. Let me know who you want me to make next in the Dark Souls 2. I'm currently working on Raiden from Metal Gear Rising. Anyway, see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed.